Hey everybody. So today we're going to be looking at our 2.4 video notes for Algebra 2 studies. I'm going to be looking at some point slope form to start. So let me just turn on my pen here. Just making sure that it's working. Okay. So let's start working. So first thing we have to look at three different types of equations when we're talking about graphing lines, right? So we have slope-intercept form first, which you're probably familiar with as y equals mx plus b. Okay, so an example of that would be y equals negative 2/3 plus 6, plus 6, where negative 2/3 x, rather. Negative 2/3 is our slope, and 6 is our y-intercept. And so the way that we graph that is, number one, we need to plot our y-intercept. And I'm just going to abbreviate intercept as int. And then we have to walk the slope and we're going to plot it out, right? So that means like we graph our y-intercept, which is going to be 0, 6, and then we're going to use our slope of negative 2/3 to plot the remaining points on that line, right? So for negative 2/3, for negative 2/3, you could either go down 2 and to the right 3, or you could go up 2 and to the left 3, because that's going to give you that negative slope. Okay, so we have point slope form as well. So there's kind of two ways to write this. We can either do y minus y1 equals m. So there's our slope, x minus x1. Or we can write it, and so that's the more traditional form, or we can write it in this transformation notation, which would be y equals m x minus x1 plus y1, right? Because we move that negative y1, that minus y1 over to the other side. Okay, so an example of this would be y plus 3 equals 2 times x minus 7, or you could write that as y equals 2 x minus 7 minus 3, right? Because we're moving that 3 over to the right. Okay, so the way that you graph this, first step, you're going to plot the point, right? Which, just an ordered pair, x1, y1. And then the second step is you're going to walk the slope and plot. Okay, so again, your slope, you're going to walk that out so that you know where to plot the rest of your points on your line, and we'll show you kind of how to do that later on in the lesson. And then the last form of writing an equation for a line is standard form. So we have ax plus by equals c. So a, b, and c are numbers, right, or integers. Okay, so an example of that would just be 10x. I don't know how that happened. 10x minus 5y equals 30. Okay, and so there are two ways that you can do this, that you can graph this. One would be to converting the equation to y equals mx plus b. Make that y a little more legible. Y equals mx plus b, or you can find your intercepts. Find x and y intercepts and plot. Okay, so for our first set of examples, we're going to write in point slope form. So again, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, and we're going to do that using the ordered pairs 8, 3 and 3, 13. So first thing we need to do is find our slope. So we know our slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is going to end up simplifying to 10 over negative 5. So negative 2 is our slope. Okay. And we can do this using using both sets of our ordered pairs, and both equations are going to be right. Okay, so if we use 8 comma 3, then our equation is going to look like this. Y minus 3, right, because that's y1, equals negative 2 times x minus 8, because that's x1. Or, and this is kind of the preferred method, because it's really the foundation of kind of our curriculum, negative 2x minus 8 plus 3, right? And we got that plus 3 by moving over the minus 3, okay? Or we can plot it using, rather we can solve it using our ordered pair 3, 13. And when we do that, we get y minus 13 equals negative 2 x minus 3, right? Again, the preferred way of writing that would be y equals negative 2 x minus 3 plus 13. Okay, I'll put a star next to the one that we prefer. Okay. So let's look at example B. We have our points negative 4, negative 7, and negative 8, negative 13. So first we've got to find our slope. So we do m equals negative 13 minus negative 7 over negative 8 minus negative 4. And we end up with negative 6 over negative 4, which is going to simplify to positive 3 over 2. Okay. And so, again, point slope form, we're just going to, what we can do is y equals 3/2, right? Because that's our slope. Either x plus 4, right? Because that comes from that x1 is negative 4 minus 7, right? For that y1. Or if we use our other points, we get y equals 3 over 2 x plus 13, because that's our second y value, minus 8, because that's our second x value. Okay, so let's look at example C. Again, we have our ordered pair 2, 3, and 14, 6. So the first thing we need to do is find our slope. So we get m equals 6 minus 3 over 14 minus 2, which simplifies to 3/12, which simplifies to 1 over 4. Okay, and then again, point slope form, y equals, we know our slope is 1/4. And then in our parentheses, we have x minus 2, because 2 is our x1 value, plus 3, because that's our y1 value. Or if we use our other ordered pair, we end up with y equals 1/4 x minus 14 plus 6. And either of those are going to be correct. Okay. Letter D, we have 2 comma 3 and 10 comma 5. So let's find our slope. We do 5 minus 3 over 10 minus 2 gives us 2 over 8. which simplifies to 1/4. And again, point slope form, y equals m, which is our slope, so 1/4. Okay. 1/4 x minus 2, that's our x-intercept, plus 3, which is our y value, or we do y equals 1/4 x minus 10, right, because that's x2, plus 5, that's y2, and either of those would work, okay? So next thing we're going to do is we're given a graph with points, right? And we are going to have to use that information to write our equation in point slope form, okay? So you can use any point that we have plotted on this line. I'm just going to use the one right here, which is -8, -8, okay? And to find our slope, we can go down 1 and over 2. So we know our slope is -1/2. And we know our ordered pair is -8, -8. And so we just plug that information in, right? Y equals our slope of -1/2, in parentheses, x minus -8, which becomes +8, right? Because that's our x1 value, minus 8, which is our y value, okay? Same process for letter B. We end up, if we want to use this point, that's 10, -1, okay? And we can use any point to find our slope. So we go over 1, down 3. Be careful, that's a slope of +3, right? Because it's -1 to the left, -3 down. So two negatives make it a positive. So it's +3. And again, our point is 10, -1. So we end up with y equals 3 times x minus 10 minus 1. Okay, so that 10 and that -1 come from our point, and that 3 comes from our slope. And next, we're going to take it one step further, and we're going to plot a line based on the equation that's written in point slope form, right? So if we look at our equation, we know our y value is going to be +4, and we know our x value is going to be -1, okay? So that's the first point that I'm going to plot, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in here, okay? So -1, and then up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know our slope is 2/3, right? That comes from over here. So that means I'm going to be going up 2 and over 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't know what that was about. Let's try it again. Up 1, 2, over 3. 1, 2, 3. Up 1, 2, over 1, 2, 3. I'm also going to go down 2 and over 1, 2, 3. And let's just do it one more time. Down 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I'm going to just connect all of these points. Draw my arrow at the end. And that's our line, okay? Same process for letter B. We're given y equals -2 times x plus 7. So we know our point is, now again, this is easy to get confused. It says +7, But remember, inside the parentheses is x minus x1. So that plus 7 comes from doing x minus negative 7. So our point is actually, is actually negative 7. And then we have negative 6. Our slope is just negative 2, right? Because that comes from right here. So again, I'm going to plot my point, negative 7, negative 6. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And again, that comes from our slope of negative 2, which can also be written as negative 2 over 1. Okay, and then we're going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, connect the dots, give them arrows, and that's all she wrote, okay? So I'm going to stop my video there. Again, you can always slow down and speed up as you need to, and we'll go over this in class as well, so come prepared with questions if you have them.